I am going to beat you into the living death.
You know, I could have done a regular YAMMA episode this week on the channel. With Danny Silva's standout performance, Macy Chiasson avenging the liver shot from hell, Tai Tuivasa's future being uncertain, Amarim's jiu-jitsu, Gerald Mearshart still kicking ass, hometown hero Mike Davis getting another win, Fight Night Tuivasa versus Tybura was damn good. I mean, for Christ's sake, literally in this case, Jafiel Filio pulled the Bryce Mitchell and did the baby Simba with the Bible after his fight. That would have been a fun thing to talk about. But sometimes, when you want to talk Simba, you end up having to drop the Scar quote because as that asshole once said, life's not fair, is it? Well, quite often, neither is MMA. A fact that Bryan Battle met head-on last Saturday when Ange Loosa pulled the Get Out of Fight free card in the co-main event at UFC Vegas 88. I'll go into the details in a moment, but to cut to the chase, the no contest that transpired in the Battle vs. Loosa fight was infuriating, rightly for Bryan Battle, and most certainly for myself and my people as we watched the event live. But the real reason I felt compelled to talk about this incident specifically was not the eye poke or the conclusion itself, but more so to talk about the character and conduct of Bryan Battle in the fight, in the aftermath of the wave-off, and in his post-fight interviews. Because walking through that sequence of events as they occurred, I think it's an absolutely teachable set of actions that a great many of these knucklehead clout-chasing fighters I regularly yell about on here can learn from. This is how Bryan Battle won his last fight, even with it being ruled a no contest. Coming off of his last fight with AJ Fletcher, a win he apparently wasn't very satisfied with, Bryan had made a few minor but positive adjustments. He'd cut his hair, his nickname was changed to The Butcher as opposed to Pooh Bear, which was adorably stupid, and most significantly, he made weight very early in the lead up to this fight. In addition to these changes, his special lady had just given birth to his second child as well, so really, this dude was in a good spot overall, and it showed. He looked calm, he looked lean, and he looked locked in and ready to win. So far, checking all of the boxes. In the first round of the fight, before the eye poke in the second, the Ultimate Fighter winner Battle was enacting a solid game plan, which was paying dividends. His combinations were crisp, his movement and attacks at range were fast and connecting, and his takedown defense was on point. Pretty damn well-rounded performance to be sure, and it looked like he was just getting warmed up. Ange wasn't faring terribly or anything, but Bisping mentioned that he thought Loosa was getting a bit frustrated by Bryan's power and dynamic offense. Well, if it wasn't one of those things, there was definitely some kind of bee in Losa's bonnet, because the ship went sharply off course real quick, early into round 2. 1 minute into the second round, a few things happen in rapid succession. First, Loosa either feints a takedown or half-heartedly commits to one, but gets cold feet. Whichever it was, Battle bites on the motion and quickly adjusts to defend the almost takedown attempt, and in the process, 2 fouls occur. There was a slight clash of heads and a glancing eye poke to Loosa as Battle went to push him downward and step out of harm's way. Both legitimate fouls, to be sure. And it was fine that the doctor was called in, and Loosa had every right to take the allotted time to recover. However, and this is sort of a big part of the problem here, he did not do that. Almost immediately, Ange says he can't see. He's telling this to referee and prolific mustache grower Mike Beltran within the first minute of the timeout. The doctor is called in, he brings the cold compress, but Loosa is showing literally zero effort or desire to stay in this fight. And at 1 minute and 40 seconds of a possible 5 minutes of recovery time, the fight is waved off because Losa's seemingly unbothered eye apparently isn't working anymore. Now, I have seen a lot of fights. So many fights, literally in the thousands at this point. And as such, I've seen a lot of eye pokes. I've seen guys with their orbitals turned into roast beef begging to continue fighting. For example, you may recognize this as Fabricio Verdum. You may not recognize this as Fabricio Verdum, as the entire left side of his face has been deconstructed by Junior Dos Santos in game-bred bare-knuckle MMA. In bare knuckle, the referees are much more likely to step in and stop fights due to exactly this kind of damage, and this fight wasn't stopped. Why? Because a fighter who wants to fight and still has the will to win is going to do it until he's forced not to. Sometimes the rules of MMA are there to keep these maniacs from being too tough for their own good, and this is certainly one of those cases. I try to be as fair as possible when it comes to my assessment of fighters during fights, as we're talking about elite athletes in a sport where dishing out and taking massive amounts of physical punishment is literally the objective. And as such, I don't think I'm being unfair in the slightest when I say that frankly, Ange Loosa's eye was nowhere near damaged to the extent one would expect to warrant that fight being called off. Well, Bryan Battle apparently didn't think so either, but before he made that known to Loosa directly, referee Mike Beltran, who handled the entire situation completely correctly I might add, had to raise no one's hand as the non-decision was announced. This is Ange Loosa at that time. Look deeply into this man's too injured to fight eye. Give me a goddamn break. This dude could have been standing behind you at Starbucks and you wouldn't notice a single solitary thing off about him except for the fact that he's shirtless and wearing really tight shorts. As I said, he wasn't having a drastically poor fight and Bryan was still turning up the heat in his own performance. They were both fine. I refuse to believe that this man could not have continued had he wanted to. In mixed martial arts, it's often said that once the mental determination wavers, the loss is a foregone conclusion. I don't cast that judgment lightly on Loosa, but in this situation, barring some kind of undiagnosed medical condition or some freak occurrence that wasn't visible on camera, I feel that I have no other choice. So the no contest is announced, and the two stand there awkwardly for a moment before Bryan cracks. He starts calling Loosa a pussy, and Loosa doesn't much like that assessment. Then Loosa has the absolute gall to chest up and go after Bryan with his team holding him back, screaming how he's going to kill him like he wasn't just in a position to do that exact thing 2.5 minutes prior. Get the fuck out of here! But this is the part of the story where these try-hard fighters who essentially make a mockery of this sport with their cringe-as-fuck antics need to start paying attention. Did Bryan Battle get heated? Yes. Did he have every right to? Absolutely. And how did he handle the situation when he was heated? Like a goddamn G. So since everyone recognizes that the situation is a travesty of system gaming, including the commentary team, Michael Bisping gets in the cage to interview Bryan. Imagine Ange having the audacity to pull that kind of shit in front of a man who literally lost his eye for the sport of MMA, but I digress. When Bryan got on that mic though, that was when he earned his W. He kept it such a goddamn stack, it was truly a paragon instance of when keeping it real goes right. He said he was whooping Ange's ass like he brought home a bad report card, and that Ange was indeed a pussy for seeking the easy out. He said it was because he's the man, and because no one wants to hang with him once they feel his power. He concluded by saying he'd run it back anytime, anywhere. Baller AF, literally no notes. He called it like he saw it, and save for a touch of hyperbolic bravado, he saw it 100% accurately. I don't talk about it much on the channel, but I come from a long history of involvement in the Florida hip-hop scene. And in that world, a lot of people view the authenticity of rappers in this ridiculously high regard. It's never been something that I've cared all that much about personally, however, because to me, the ability to rap is the most important thing for a rapper to possess, with your bout that lifeness being secondary. I view fighting like that as well. Chael Sonnen is the greatest trash talker of all time, but when he gets in the cage and loses a fight, none of that really matters. But if you do value authenticity both in word and action, Bryan Battle in this moment proved that he's got both. Not only does he have everything it takes to be at the highest levels of this sport, but when he talks shit, he backs it up. It rings true because it is true. And while all the Colby Covingtons of the world put on their eye-roll-inducing songs and dances to sell fights, what Bryan did here is really all you need. Dana White once told fighters to be like Joe Pyfer, while Thinker St. James is telling you that if you want to make fans, be like Bryan Battle. There was also this funny moment after the interview where Bisping makes a point to re-enter the cage and let Bryan know how much he and everyone on the broadcast team thought the whole situation was bullshit, but he didn't realize that they were still on air. Something that seems to happen to Bisping often, I might add. And that would be where the story ends, but I also watched Bryan's post-fight media interview, which I'll link below, and I encourage you to watch as well. You see, I saw every episode of Bryan's season of The Ultimate Fighter, and as you do from that show, I got at least a surface level read on who he is as a human being. And when you listen to him speak in this interview, his character really shines through. He's articulate, he's likable, he's fair in his own assessment of the events as they transpired, and to circle back to hip-hop, in the words of Jadakiss, he's not cocky, he's confident. That is how you make fans without being a douchebag, and yet another reason why, in my eyes, this fight was a win for this dude, no contest or not. As for Ange Loosa, I read his post-fight comments, and he really didn't have a whole lot to say for himself besides, nah, but the eye poke was really that bad though. Well, buddy, you may not have lost the fight on paper, but you definitely done Ange Loosa a whole lot of favor with the UFC and the MMA fan base. So you can talk about how bad it makes you feel that everyone's hating on you, but in this case, you've got a whole lot of ground to make up to get back into people's good graces. But that really depends on if you've got the mindset to remain in this sport, because sadly, whether you do or not, after what went down at UFC Vegas 88, that is going to be in question until you prove it definitively. As I said earlier, if there's even a shred of doubt in your mind that you do not have a path to victory at any time before or during the fight, you have already lost. That is your cross to bear, and it is wrong for you to jeopardize the gains of others if it is a matter that is in question. Doing what you did robbed Bryan of a potential win bonus. Doing what you did nullified an entire training camp full of blood, sweat, tears, and time. What you did also put another roadblock in the way of a career that is on the upswing in a sport where careers are so very fleeting and the window for elite activity is so very short. Bryan is 29 years old. He'll get back in the cage with a winner's mindset and he'll be fine. Right now, with both good eyes, maybe you should take a long, hard look in the mirror and ask yourself if you can say the same for you. I'm going to throw in some clips here of our live reactions to the fight I just talked about with a few annotations. This is from our watch-along stream that we do right here on the channel. We also stream to Kick, Twitch, and Trovo, whoever uses that thing. So if you're interested in hanging out for a stream and chatting with us, we do watch-alongs for pretty much every UFC event, with rare exception. So pick a platform and tune in. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and hopefully we'll see you in the chat sometime. All right, let's see what we got here, folks. Bryan is very good with his range. Nice, yeah, you see, yep, nice with the knees. Oh, hell yeah. This is why I like watching Bryan fight, too. Like, he is very good at managing distance explosively and quickly. He's very, you talk about nimble. You know, for a welterweight, he's a big welterweight, too, you know. He's a taller dude. He moves nicely, and he controls the distance. Like, he utilizes it very well. Also, a good fight IQ from Bryan in general. I want to see him be a little bit more active on his feet from this distance. That's what he's saying anyway.
Yeah,
let's see the replay here.
That's all what happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of in motion. Yeah,
he was just moving them off, type of thing. That right there.
Oh, that little flick. Yeah. Let's see. Were they talking Clash? Oh, there was. Yeah, that little flick. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, you know, fair play. I don't.
Yeah, he was just trying to.
It's like, definitely unintentional.
He was definitely going for the shoulder, but his head was there. Instead.
Yeah. You know, you're in tight like that. Things happen like that. That is true. Sucks. You know, bring the doctor in. Do it. You know, give him the time. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. I'm good with all of this. Unfortunately, it's you know, you don't like to see it, but if it's gonna happen. Well, let's not immediately go to that, Mike Beltran. Like, don't put ideas in the guy's head.
Yeah. Don't worry, it'll be a no contest.
Yeah, right. I'm giving you the get out of jail free card, bro. Don't worry, I got you. It's a homie move. Like, stop being his homie.
I've seen what happens.
Been there, bro. I've refed a lot of fights. You know, you're kind of getting your ass kicked a little bit. You know, and it's leveling with you. You know? Are you kidding me? They're calling this shit? Oh, come on. Was it that bad?
Bro, I've seen this motherfucker, motherfuckers get poked in the eye where they're bloody.
Yeah, I mean, we've literally seen people bleeding out of their orbitals begging to go back in.
Yep.
But I mean, you know, look, every person is different, and I can't say how extreme it was, but it just didn't seem that extreme.
I don't know, with this level, that's a bitch move. Like...
Yeah, I mean, I try. You know, look, I don't go to that immediately. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like they're professional fighters.
It's
yeah, but I mean, it just didn't seem like it's that extreme to the point of needing to, you know, to call it off. And it's also not a good look if you're trying to continue at a high level. You know what I mean? Like, you're certainly not doing yourself any favors with the promotion. Let's say.
Yes.
Because yeah, I can guarantee you, I hear Dana White in the background like. You know, I don't like that.
I don't know if I want to keep him around.
Guys, you know how I feel about stuff like
he
that.
gave up.
Oh, yeah, they did. They did call it. That's, wow. Okay, buddy. I don't know how long your time is for this type of deal, man. Bro, looking straight fine right now. Oh, he's saying you're a fucking pussy for that. You fucking pussy for that. Yo, oh, okay.
Now you
all right.
fight.
Oh, yeah.
Now you want to fight.
Fucking, honestly, though, hey, look.
No, he's right.
I mean, look, you know, as I said, I give him the fucking benefit of the doubt, but yo, Bryan Battle is not fucking wrong at all for the way he's you're a fucking pussy for that. I mean, like.
You can see the sign right now.
That's what literally I was just saying. He's standing there fucking looking plain as day.
Now you want to fight? Like.
I mean, bro, hey.
I think he's right.
Fuck, speak your truth, Bryan Battle.
Yeah.
Yo, let's fucking go. Talk that shit, Bryan Battle. Talk that shit.
I bet Dana's hearing that right now going...
Yeah, no shit. I mean, and he was clearly winning the fight.
Clearly winning the fight.
Let's go, Bryan Battle. That's my fucking man right there. Hell yeah, dude.
I didn't know who Bryan Battle was coming into this fight, but I know.
There you go. Made a fan out of Zach.
I love it.
Well, fuck it. All right.
He saw it just like that shit too.
And that's so unfortunate too, because Bisping's got the one eye, so it's like the way that he was looking like get on him.
It made him look cross-eyed as fuck.
Oh no.
Bisping is fucking clowned that dude.
Oh man.
Yo,
hey, no. All praise to Bryan Battle for how he handled that shit, honestly.
He beat somebody's ass so bad he had to fucking quit.
That, I mean, you know, look, I am the first person, like, you hear how I'm pretty, I try to be as even as possible with a lot of this shit. You know what I mean? I'm always the guy that's going to give the benefit of the doubt to these fighters. They're world-class athletes a lot of the time here. You know, 99% of the time you're in the UFC, you're a world-class athlete. Bryan Battle had no fucking, nothing to be ashamed of in saying what he said. What?
No, I was just thinking, watching Bisping being like, nah, man, yeah, that was a pussy way out.
What?
And then everybody just immediately
Let's
after
go.
doing that,
Bisping on that
turning
shit.
around laughing.
Yo. Hey.
Not wrong, though.
You know what? I know Bisping has to be like company man, but you know, but he's still a man. You know what I mean? He's still a fighter.
Career with one bitch move.
Game.